here with Ribal Al Assad. He's the founder of the Organization for Democracy and Freedom in Syria, and he's also the cousin of the current Syrian president. Also, you had just a plenary session here at the Gallen Symposium. Mr. Al Assad, you're of Syrian descent and you have co-founded this Organization for Democracy and Freedom. But you're also living in Western exile since your childhood. How effectively can you contribute to a change on the ground in Syria?
Yes, I think that the life that I've had, since I was 9 years old, it helped me a lot into seeing how the world really is and how everybody around the world lives. I've traveled a lot. I've lived in France, in Spain. I've studied in the United States. I even lived in China, and now I live in the UK. So the world is really moving forward. The whole world is moving forward, but our country, unfortunately, is stuck in the past. And this is unacceptable today to see that. And it's very sad. It saddens me to see that why things haven't changed. Why haven't we moved forward? We wasted a lot of time, and I think now it's the time to try to catch up to all the time lost. When Bashar, my cousin, came to power, there was a lot of hope. People had a lot of hope that because he's young and he's connected to the world, that he would be able to. He promised a lot that he would be able to move Syria forward. But unfortunately, nothing. 11 years later, nothing has happened. And as you've seen, a lot of people, they had to wait until those people went to the street and start demonstrating for them to start doing some minor changes. But people want a lot more. They will not accept small things or small changes. And why should the regime just move when there's a pressure? They should have moved on their own. This is what we've been calling on them to do a few years ago. Why haven't they listened? It's very sad. At the same time, it's very unfortunate what's happening, but at the same time we're still hopeful that, as I said during my interview a while ago, I said Bashar has a golden opportunity to move towards democracy and freedom in Syria. He should take the reins into his own hands and move towards that. And if he cannot do it, if he's stopped by the people that are around him, it could be those corrupt people, his cousins from his mother's side, like Rami Makhlouf, Hafiz Makhlouf, Atif Najib, all those security apparatus. Well, he has to stand up to them at the end of the day. He's the president, he's the leader of the party, he's the leader of the army, he's the head of the army. So at the end of the day, he's the one responsible. He has to take responsibility. He has to have the courage to stand up and to say, well, I've tried my best. I've been trying for the 11 years. Those people haven't let me move forward. They've been stopping me from trying to bring democracy or freedom and all this to the Syrian people. And I would like to join the Syrian people, and I would like the Syrian people to join me. We join ranks in facing those corrupt people.
So, in your view, how should a peaceful transition of power in Syria then be structured? And especially, who has the legitimate power to oversee it then?
Well, he has to call the actual Bashar himself. He has to call on a government to form a government of national unity. He has to sit on a round table with all parties, who believe in genuine democracy, to sit around and to see how we could form a government of national unity, move forward. Of course, they have to abolish the Article 8 of the Constitution, which says that the Ba'ath Party is the leader of the society, leader of the country and of the society. This has to be abolished, and they has to allow all other political parties to participate, to be part of the future. They have to sit together. They have to allow. They have lifted, for example, the state of emergency, but nothing has happened. They continue on using violence against the people. So what is it good for that they have lifted it? So they have to really start implementing those reforms that they've spoken about. They have to allow freedom of media. They have to give people their freedom of expression, freedom of association, and all of that. All people should be equal under under the rule of law in Syria, and we have to move towards that as soon as possible. We cannot wait. People cannot wait any longer.
having changed the political system towards then democracy and freedom, how should be proceeded with members of the old political establishment then?
Well, the old political establishment, I mean, those people, they have, they have to choose. There's no way out. They have to choose. Either they're going to be part of the change, or they're going to be changed. All of them. So sooner or later, how long is it going to last? At the end of the day, those people lived. They were corrupt. They took money from the people. They took money from Syria. They have tortured people. They have harassed people. They have stolen from people. How long is it going to take? Well, at the end of the day, they know very well that they're going to be, held responsible for their actions. What do you think this is going to go for forever? This is impossible. So those people, they have to decide today. We want to be part of this change. If not, they have to know that sooner or later they will be changed.
And how should that happen then in this new political system, with the tools of an open and free democracy, or how do you want to proceed with them then?
Yes, I think people in Syria, the only way that a country like Syria, where it's a beautiful mosaic of people, where you have so many ethnicities and sects and religions and everybody living in this beautiful country, but as you know, it's like everywhere else, a mosaic. You have to know how to put it together. To make it beautiful. If not, it looks like a very ugly painting. So we have to know how to put it together. People are ready. People today, as I said, people are interconnected. People have satellite televisions. They use the internet. They have mobile phones. So people want to know what's happening abroad. They know how everyone else abroad lives. They know how everybody look up to the West. They look up to how people live in the West, and they want the same life. So people are ready for it. They're ready for democracy. It's nonsense when people say, "Oh, democracy in Syria will take 20 years." Why would it take 20 or 30 years?
Yeah. So the old, but coming back to my question, so you say the old political establishment should also be part of a new Syria then?
No. I mean, they will not be accepted. They will have to accept that they need to step aside and relinquish their powers, and and say, okay, well, the ones who were responsible, but it will be, the justice system, I'm sure, will be much easier on them if they give up without killing people, because at the end of the day, if you continue on killing people, trust me, this is not going to be very nice end for those people. It's not going to be so, people are not going to be so forgiving when things change.
In another plenary session at this year's symposium, Mrs. Ayaan Hirsi Ali, she argued that in order to successfully transform the political system in Arab countries into free and open democracies, you really need to touch and alter the fundamental values of a society. Do you agree with that?
In what way? In order do you need to...
You really, in order to be able to transform those societies, you really need to change the fundamental values of an Arab society.
No,
do you agree with that?
This is completely not true. We had democracy in Syria, in the 50s, and the only things it might be democracy is democracy exists now all over the West, but you cannot tell me that democracy in the West is all the same. The democracy in the United States is not the same as in France. In France, it's not the same as in England. In England, it's not the same as in Germany. It just differs from everywhere because society is different everywhere. In Syria, of course, it's going to work, but it has its own. It has its own. You have to take into. You have to take into thoughts. How the different minorities, different ethnicities, different sects, religions, all of that. But of course, it's going to exist. As I said, it might not be exactly the same democracy as you have here in Switzerland, but it will also be a democracy.
Thanks very much, Mr. Al Assad, and have a good time at the symposium.
Thank you very much. It was great being here. It's a great honor being with you.